Hello everyone and welcome to the Cleveland Legacy Open. I'm Glenn Jones, joined the sideboard by Nicholas Rausch.
How you doing?
Welcome. I'm doing all right. You're a Legacy enthusiast. I know you actually have a Legacy title with us on the Open Series. And you came today with a little bit of a brew. You're also a bit of a brewer.
I do. I like playing things off the wall that don't really see the light of day.
Yeah, this is definitely pretty interesting. It kind of reminded me when you were first describing it of Trinity Green, but you've described it more as a Dragon Stompy transition into green from red.
I actually like to call it no Stax or Troll Stompy.
Troll Stompy.
Either one of those are fine. So the way the deck works is you play much like in the same way with the Dragon Stompy decks or Fairy Stompy decks of old. You have your Soul Lands and Ancient, City of Traders and Ancient Tomb to get your fast mana, along with Elvish Spirit Guide because we're in green instead of red, and Chrome Mox to accelerate out into things.
Pretty much the exact same kind of mana acceleration, just obviously you're using forests instead of mountains.
Exactly.
But that deck has access to Blood Moon. You have a lot of the same disruptive elements. You have Trinisphere, Lodestone Golem, Chalice of the Void.
Yep.
But because you don't have Blood Moon, you've had to make some concessions.
Yeah. So you don't really have a way to disrupt their mana. So you would need to play something that does that. So your options are like Wasteland, but it doesn't tap for green mana, so it's kind of awkward to play. So we're playing Tanglewire instead. It can buy you time against a lot of decks. It's really good in conjunction with Chalice of the Void. It just gives you something free to tap down that doesn't doesn't stop them or anything. It's just a way to slow down the opposing decks for you to implement your plan.
Okay, makes sense. Moving on, we can talk a little bit about what green actually adds to the deck. Obviously, you don't have to play things like Rakdos Pit Dragon anymore.
Right.
One of the things that I've always understood about the Dragon Stompy deck was basically it kind of doesn't matter what you're going to try and kill them with. You're just trying to disrupt them and then you throw down something. That's why you can afford to get away with some pretty shady win conditions.
You just throw down a 4 or 5 drop, and it's usually going to be bigger than anything your opponent can play. Like in a world of Deathrite Shamans and sometimes Tarmogoyfs, they can sometimes be pretty small, and just whatever you play is going to get over the top of them.
So what you're getting over the top with, you've got a Green Sun Zenith package. Obviously, you can even use that as an accelerant with Dryad Arbor. But your fatties are Master of the Wild Hunt, Thrun the Last Troll with Scavenging Ooze and Wickerbow Elder to kind of solve any problems you might come up against along the way.
Great. Thrun has been great in a lot of the blue matchups. Liliana's a problem for it, but a lot of the spot removal doesn't hit them, can't hit them, and if they're playing Supreme Verdict, you can just regenerate off of it. So that's your main threat. Scavenging Ooze and Wickerbow Elder just as kind of catch-alls against graveyard strategies. Master of the Wild Hunt is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But the deck really has problems with a resolved Delver of Secrets if they're on the play, as well as Dark Confidence. So you need something that can actually take care of those. Garruk Relentless is a card that can do that, but you have Garruk Wildspeaker and for the mana accelerants. So there's not really the room to run both those Garruks. So Master of the Wild Hunt it is.
I guess it kind of makes sense. And if you can get him down fast enough, obviously, then you're not in that big a danger. A Delver might only get you to like 10-ish life, but then you stabilize.
Yep.
Okay, the thing I actually find most interesting about this deck is the next card you jammed in, because if you're going to Chalice and Trinisphere some deck, you might as well hit them with a real haymaker.
Right.
And you're running Natural Order.
Correct. No Stax, as I like to call it. Natural Order or Progenitus. You have a plethora of green guys to sacrifice either off of Garruk, off of your Green Sun Zenith, Dryad Arbor.
Yeah.
And you can do it very, very fast. You can do it on turn 2. I suppose you can do it on turn 1, but that's not exactly likely.
Yeah.
And what the deck does as well, like a lot of the Natural Order decks of old, you would back it up with Counterspell Magic. This way, you're putting your disruption first in Chalice and Trinisphere to shut them down before they're able to interact with your Natural Order, put your 10-10, get them for a couple turns.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense. It also gives you a way to backdoor free wins. Yep. If you're not actually able to successfully disrupt them, they might just fold to a 10-10, like a lot of people do. It was a good strategy back in the day.
Yeah, for sure. Liliana's made it a little bit awkward now, but you can take care of that in other ways, hopefully being able to attack it.
All right. Well, you've gotten a few rounds on your belt with the deck, obviously, now. Have you thought of any changes or anything that you might want to add?
I think I would want to add, like, Dismembers to the sideboard, just as another way to kill the problematic creatures like Bob or Delver. Other than that, I really, really like the deck. It mulligans a lot. You really have to aggressively mulligan for the hands that have both mana acceleration and a threat. Other than that, I'm very happy with it.
All right, cool. Well, thank you for sharing it with us. Good luck in the remainder of the tournament.
Thank you very much.